It's the time of year we give thanks for all we have and give to those in need. Please stay tuned to learn how your donations and your time can help others on this episode of Thurston County Connection, coming up next. I'm standing in front of the Thurston County Food Bank in downtown Olympia. Every year, thousands of people, including children, struggle to make ends meet and go without adequate food, clothing, and other essentials. This holiday season, we want to talk to some of the people and groups that are making a difference in people's lives and show how you can help. Hi, I'm here at Family and Juvenile Court with Ted Bryan, the detention manager. Tell me exactly what it is you do.
Well, I'm the detention manager for the court. I'm responsible for everything behind the locked door with kids, and now responsible for a lot of things, a lot of the programs we do outside of formal detention, including our garden project.
Oh, and that's what we're going to focus on today, is the garden, or the Seeds of Change. What's the population of Juvenile Hall?
We average almost 15 youth a day in detention, and then serve another 3 to 5 kids a day in our alternative to detention programs.
Okay, and in the past, like 15 years ago, maybe 20 years ago, what was the population?
15 years ago, it was close to 80 youth a day.
80 a day, and now we're down to about 15 a day.
Yes.
And that is because of why?
Well, I think it's because a lot of programs like this, we're looking at kids differently, trying to serve families and youth in a different way. We primarily do research into youth and why they're getting in trouble, and then do everything we can to intervene and treat them differently. They don't need to be in formal detention, so we do what we can to keep them out.
Is that restorative justice? Is that what that's called?
Part of the restorative justice program, yes.
Okay, and one of your employees is Shane Pierre, and we'll be talking with him in just a moment. And how did Seeds of Change evolve?
Well, I wish I could go in the whole conversation, but Shane was persistent and said, hey, we should do a garden project with kids and keep them out of detention and get them working and give them life skills and work skills. And we found a way to do it a couple of years ago now, and it's grown and grown into what you see today.
And I first learned about this earlier this year, and I was really taken aback by not only the thought and the theory behind it, but the actual results of this. Yes. It's exceptionally powerful and moving, and I think it's powerfully important and should not be missed on anybody. Having a supervisor like you that is supportive of this is powerfully important, because it impacts kids, families, and our community in a very positive way, and your staff as well.
Well, I just try to stay out of the way, and it's committed people like Shane that make a difference with kids.
Good. Well, thank you, sir, very kindly.
Thank you.
Appreciate you taking the time.
You bet.
You probably have a lot to do.
I have some things.
All right. Thank you, Ted.
Thank you.
Bye-bye. I'm still out here at the Seeds of Change Garden at the Family and Juvenile Center, and I'm with Shane Pierre, detention officer, and Aziz Sirhan, a former participant of the garden. Thank you both very much for being here today to explain what's going on and what we're doing, and get to the focus of today. But Shane, I'll start with you.
Okay.
Give us a brief history of the Seeds of Change, the garden.
Well, you know, this garden project actually was started even before I was employed here. I've been here for 17 years. And it was started by one of the other detention officers. Didn't do really good, but I thought, I mean, he did a pretty good job. And then when he left, Another detention officer took over. Thought they did a pretty good job of donating food, growing food with the kids. And the project kind of just fell by the wayside. When Mr. Bryan took over as detention manager, I started bugging him. And I wouldn't let it go. He finally gave me the opportunity to come out and do what we've accomplished out here. One of the things that he told me in the beginning was, you know, this is a great idea, but we don't have any budget for this. So go see what you can get done. I went and started speaking with local business people here in Thurston County. And the neat thing about that, not one business person said no. Every single person said, yeah, what can we do to help? I wasn't looking for money, just items so that we could get this thing started.
Like seeds?
Like seeds, absolutely.
Hand tools and such?
You know, yeah, a little bit of that. You know, when we initially started where we're standing right now, last couple of years ago at this time, we'd been up to our knees in mud. The drainage was really bad. We didn't have any water out here. So initially that's where we started. Then we wanted to, you know, we all know what happens to wood here in Washington, and that's what the beds were made of initially, was wood. You know, it'll rot. So we switched and went to brick, and those items were all donated. The gravel that we're standing on was donated. The cinder blocks, this nice wall, all this stuff was donated.
How much food do you typically grow per year to donate?
Well, you know, we just completed our second year. Our first year when Aziz and I worked together.
Yeah, we'll get to you, Aziz.
we were in the process of building this back here, and we came up just short of 500 pounds our first year. This year we set a goal of 1,000 pounds. I thought that was kind of a lofty goal, but gosh darn if we ended up with 2,069 pounds that we were able to donate to the food bank this year.
Over 2,000 pounds of what?
Oh my gosh, broccoli, cauliflower, carrots, tomatoes, watermelon. People told us that we couldn't do watermelon in Western Washington, so we made it a point to show that we could. Melons, corn, squash, zucchini, cucumbers, you name it. We're growing it out here.
And you donated all that. Well, number one, that's why you have the watermelon. That's why you have the hothouse, right? The watermelons?
You know, we started them in there, but they actually did pretty well right out here in our garden.
Wow, who'd have thought?
Yeah.
So lemon trees and avocados next.
You know, we're looking into that.
Okay. Where did you donate the food to? Where did it go?
To the Thurston County Food Bank. We go to the food bank downtown. And it's kind of neat. The kids and I go together. And once we arrive down there, they kind of take over. The kids know the process. We weigh the food, we document the food there, and then they write us a receipt. We grab new crates that are empty that the food bank provides to us. We bring them back, and we're off and running again.
And after this segment, I'll be down talking with Robert Coit at the Thurston County Food Bank as well, so it all dovetails together.
Yep.
And are you, the kids, are a part of the delivery of the food?
Absolutely, and I'll be honest with you, Commissioner. It's taking the food to the food bank is probably the most powerful part of what we do out here. The kids are able to see folks taking the food home that they grew. They're able to witness, you know, needy families, and they're going to be able to eat that night because of what these kids have done. It's very powerful.
Is there verbal interaction between the people receiving the food and the kids bringing it out?
No, not so much. You know, the people that volunteer down at the food bank, they start to get to know our kids a little bit. The ones that are regulars that come in often, they kind of learn their names. And I think that also, it really makes the kids feel like they're part of something. And that's because they are.
It's a community connection.
Absolutely.
Like Thurston County Connection. Okay.
Betcha.
So Aziz, have you, you've participated. How long have you been working in the garden, or have you worked in the garden?
I put about a little over 100 hours into here. Took about 3-4 months.
And that's why you were staying here, or as part of probation or something?
It was part of probation, yes, but I was going home at night, and I'd come return in the morning, and I would work here during the day, and then go home, restart again.
And what, how long ago was that?
That was a little over a year ago.
Mm-hmm.
All right.
You know, Commissioner, there's something that I got to add about this young man.
Go ahead.
He actually, he was my very first foreman. He kind of set the bar pretty high.
That's right, you said foreman, and I forgot to mention that.
Yes. And you know, one of the things behind that is it really teaches the kids to be good leaders. And Aziz was that person. He was my #1 foreman. Like I said, he set the bar pretty high. He was in charge out here. And like I said, being a good leader is important. And he surpassed all of my expectations.
Well, and that's, again, I don't want that to be missed on anybody that might be watching. But whether you're a Ted Bryan or whether you're a Shane Pierre or a Aziz Sirhan, you're mentoring other people along the way. And so you had youth working for you or working with you as well.
Right. Yeah, I tried to work with them, and I had a blast out here. It was a lot of fun. We learned a lot out here, and I'm still learning every day.
So now you're an adult and you're out and you have a full-time job and you're working somewhere, and but you still come in and volunteer?
I'm actually putting a portion of my paychecks into donating here. I'm trying to help as much as I can, any way I can. So.
It's a beautiful thing. And since you mentioned that, I want to go back. And I understand there are employees here that are donating time and talent and even money here and there for things to help out at the garden.
That's correct, as well as even items. We've got some of the, one of our probation staff brought in some really nice dahlias. I didn't even know what dahlias were, but he brought these things in. He's a pretty good gardener in his own right. He brought us some plants in that we still got going. These, there's some beds back here that still kind of hold some of his plants he brought in the first year.
Legacy.
Yeah, absolutely.
So tell me Aziz, what has this meant to you personally?
The garden here has helped me learn who I want to be in life, where I want to go. It's taught me responsibility, great work ethic. It's taught me how to be organized, how to get things done on time. I've learned how to create a schedule, in my day-to-day and follow through and, achieve my goals and things like that.
Did that help you get a job?
It did. When I used the skills I learned here out in the real world, I was able to be successful and continue staying a successful and positive member of the society.
Boy, you're a great role model and a great example of things done right, because this sure beats being locked up, doesn't it?
Yes.
And so you have others at your place of employment now that are donating as well to an organization that indirectly helps the garden as well? Right,
yeah. We can choose which charity we want to donate to, and yeah. I think it's a little over, currently 51%. It's still rising every day, but 51% of my company donates to a charity.
It saves budget-wise. As a county commissioner, I look at the budget, and by not locking people up all the time, that saves money, and that's a good thing. But I know it's more than about money. It's about our whole community, our whole society coming together and helping each other out. Absolutely, yes.
Our first year, had a young man and wasn't the best worker. You know who I'm talking about.
I think so.
This young man was here. Fort Lewis brought us some starts our first year. And this young man was here to plant them, he was here to harvest them, and he was here to take them down to the food bank. It really impacted him immensely. He was awful quiet on the way back. And when I asked him what was wrong, he said he'd never felt this way before. He kind of went from not being a very good worker to being a much better worker. So yeah, it's a very strong and powerful thing to go down there and see the fruits of your labor. You're able to see families taking this stuff home, and it changed some kids. Didn't see that coming, but it really did. So this is not about punishment. This is about giving people purpose, self-worth, giving them a meaning of life, and giving them a life, because you've gone on to be successful. I cannot thank you enough for all that you've done here and all that you continue to do, and you as well, Aziz. So Shane Pierre and Aziz Sirhan, thank you so much for your time today. Greatly appreciate it. You betcha. Thank you.
And I hope you've enjoyed this, and we're going to be talking more about how we impact others and how we impact other people that are very much in need today, especially through this holiday season. I'm at Thurston County Food Bank with the operations manager, Judy Jones. Judy, thank you so much for taking the time to meet with me today and to tell all of us more about the food bank.
Absolutely.
Now, I just came from the Juvenile Justice Center and talked with Shane Peer about the Seeds of Change. And he's mentioned that a bunch of food comes down here from Juvenile Hall. Can you explain to me how that works down here?
You bet. So I remember when I first met Shane, he showed up in a white van, pretty sure he had his overalls on, came in with 3 children, 3 teenagers, and said, okay, we're growing some food. Let me tell you what we're doing, and we want to donate it here. And I said, super, what do you have? And I don't remember what that first crop was. It was small, but I trained the kids in on how to log, how to weigh the food, how to log it, put it away in the cooler, and then I really wanted to make sure that they understood the significance of what they were embarking on in this garden journey. And that was, I took them through our plastic curtains out onto the distribution floor and talked about what it looks like when we're open on our distribution days and how the produce that they were delivering on that day would be going into someone's grocery cart the very next day and onto someone's table that night, so that they really understood that they were feeding people.
So and there was 3 of them. When they came in, they probably had no idea. They just thought, okay, we're just dropping some food off. And then when you explained it to them and put it in real perspective that these are living human beings that are taking this food because they need it and want it, and this is what they're giving to them, could you see any kind of a change where they get grasping the concept of what they were doing?
Faces changed. So it went from okay, I'm doing this because Shane is asking me to do this and we're going to follow procedures, to oh my goodness, I'm really making a difference in the community. So absolutely, I could tell lights were going on. They were understanding better the significance of the work that they were doing. And I think for some of them, it maybe struck a personal chord, because as the time went on and I got to know the kids a little bit better, they would divulge things about their own personal families that maybe overlapped with the food bank.
So a real connection,
Absolutely.
like Thurston County Connection. But that was the first group, you said, the first group. And how you've seen subsequent groups over the last couple of years.
Yes, I have.
Has it been the same, or has it changed? Or what kind of changes have there been in either the quantity of food and or the reception of the kids, what they're getting from this?
So as far as food, it's been amazing. So after the first year, Shane set a goal for himself, a lofty goal. He's quite a dreamer, and it's all coming true. So he said, I'm going to double what we did this first year. And I said, okay. He said, I put in new beds. We're going to expand the crops. I said, go for it. He doubled. He more than exceeded his goal that second year, and he's more than exceeded his goal this year. So the diversity of the food that they've grown is amazing. This year he was quite proud of the watermelons, because he was told you could not grow watermelons in Thurston County. And he said, I'm going to prove you wrong. And he did, because he brought in watermelons.
So stand by, because I challenged him to do avocados and lemons next.
Okay. Very good. And the kids, the kids' attitudes, I think it's been kind of infectious. As kids graduating from the program and moving on have passed on the torch to these other kids, and they understand, I think, a little bit better than that first crew, now that they've been doing it a while, that they really are feeding people in their community.
I think one of the first few kids that you met years ago, we interviewed this morning as well, and the impact it had on him. And he's an adult, and he comes back throughout the year and helps at the garden, and still mentors others and contributes financially. Now, Shane said that this year they donated about 2,000 pounds of, I don't think fruit, but veggies. And can you tell me about how many people that served? How long that would last on the shelf?
Well, 1,000 pounds is about a pallet of produce. So a pallet of produce in...
Is a pallet as big as this? I mean...
A pallet is as big as this.
Okay.
And depending on what it is, if it was potatoes, that's quite a dense crop. So if we're looking at a dense crop, it's a pallet. It would last us a day, which maybe doesn't sound like a lot, but it is when you look at what our average numbers are. So we get into 300 plus families on an average day.
300 a day.
And our average family size is 4, so that's 1,200 people that could have been fed from that pallet of produce.
Good grief. And I don't think most of the community realizes the vast numbers of people out in our community that really not only need but are dependent on people donating food and even non-perishable items as well. So can you tell me what are the top food items that are donated?
I would say the top food items that are donated and we need are our shelf-stable items. So we're standing right next to one, peanut butter, #1 item, biggest need, used by all ages. Whether you live at home and can cook at home or you're living out on the street, this is the #1 product. In addition to that, soup, canned canned beans, canned tomatoes, cereal, macaroni and cheese. Those are the standards for families. And that's the majority of who we feed as families.
And these are lifelines. Lifelines. And most of those families have children.
About 48% of our customers are children.
58%, nearly 50% of your customers are kids.
Yes, we feed families.
Good grief. Okay. Judy, thank you so much for all you do. How long have you been working at the food bank?
7 years.
Good for you. Thank you so much for all you do and continue to do it. Greatly appreciate it. And thank you for taking the time.
Thank you.
Hey, bye-bye. Hi, I'm with Robert Coit, the Executive Director of the Thurston County Food Bank in downtown Olympia. Thank you, Robert, very much for coming out and taking time from your busy day. You just finished up a conference call that was extensive, and so I'm glad you had the time to do this today for us.
Thank
for
you.
all of us. Today we've been focusing on how people can donate perishables and non-perishables to various organizations in our county. We have about 2,000 nonprofit organizations in Thurston County. We're only focusing on 3 today. And no, I'm not going to try to hit all of them. But so that's where we're going to go. But I'm going to start with this. We've known each other for quite some time. When did we first meet?
The first time I met you, you were in uniform, and the alarm had come off down here at the Thurston County Food Bank's downtown location. And it was really early in the morning, and I was frankly pretty nervous. And you were the officer that met me here as we had to go into the building and check and make sure everything was okay. And you helped me get past that nervousness.
And that was about 14 years ago, you said?
About 14 years ago, yeah.
So, number one, when you shared that with me just before we started chatting, I was amazed because I clearly don't remember it that vividly anyway. But we've known each other quite some time, and you've been here that long. And the food bank has grown exponentially than what it was 14 years ago.
Yeah, the food bank's actually been in operation about 45 years. Started in the early 70s, 1972, 73. I've been the ED about 12 and a half, 13, 14 years, depending on how you do the math. And we've grown in size about 300% over that time. So we've doubled in size twice.
So we came from the juvenile hall or family and juvenile detention center and talked with Shane about Seeds of Change. Now we're here at the food bank because they donated 2,000 pounds of food this year to the food bank and such.
So we also have a partnership with JBLM, and they also have a correctional facility on base, and they also have a garden on base. And they also grow food for the Thurston County Food Bank. And it's the inmates, the people that are incarcerated growing food on site, and they're getting job skills. And so one of the early individuals there was Sean. And maybe Shane heard about that. Maybe he read about that, or maybe he just had the same lightning strike of a good idea. But he brought that idea of a garden as part of the process that by which people can get back into our communities, give back, and basically be a positive force for change.
It's quite amazing to hear from Shane's perspective how many dozens of kids he's assisted in not only growing food and bringing the food here, which impacts down the line families and people, heart-to-heart type connection, but also mentoring these young men and women, or boys and girls, into becoming responsible adults as well. So whoever started the idea, it's a great idea, and I'm glad that you're a part of that, very much a part of that.
Yeah, I think Shane's unique take on it is what you described, where it's all about the kids. The food's a nice byproduct, I'm happy to have it, but the real change is in the individuals that volunteer their time to grow the food. That's what we see more than anything else.
Yeah, and it's a great relationship you have with Shane and Juvenile Hall. How can people in our community, knowing that there's so many charities out there and knowing there's so many needy folks and families and kids out there, how can they actually donate, and what should they be donating to the Thurston County Food Bank? And what's the best way for them to do that?
Yeah, so there's a lot of ways that you can donate to the Thurston County Food Bank and our greater network. So your time is valuable. We still are very much a volunteer-run organization. Last year, about 10,000 people gave us their time.
Jeez.
Yeah, 10,000. Yep. Not every day, not every week, but over the course of the year, 10,000 unique individuals. Day of Caring projects, weekend before Thanksgiving, building the Thanksgiving meal boxes, and even people like Douglas and Bob that come every Monday, every week, week after week after week. But without that workforce, we really can't do as much as we do now. Second is food donations. Non-perishables, I'd say the top 10 are everything you would imagine: peanut butter, canned soup, beans, that sort of thing. Non-perishables, we really prize fresh produce, without a doubt. Whether you grow it yourself, you might consider buying it and donating it in the winter months when I don't have local farms or gardens bringing it in. We actually do a winter produce drive at a couple stores in April and March. So that's a great gift in the off season. And then cold hard cash. The reality is, with our Tumwater building, we're able to buy food in bulk now. So we typically buy food by the tractor trailer load. So my best story is cereal. I'm buying an entire tractor trailer load of cereal for about $12,000. And that's roughly 24 pallets, 40,000 pounds or so. That's a lot of boxes of cereal, $5 at a time.
Will that last?
About 4 months.
4 months. And that's just the cereal.
That's just the cereal.
So if John Hutchings, if I wanted to go to Costco or some other grocery store and buy fresh produce, I can just walk it in and say, here?
Take it to our downtown location, Monday through Friday, you bet.
The one we're standing in.
The one we're standing in. And generally it goes out the same day.
Oh, okay, all right. 'Cause I always traditionally think when you have food drives, canned food drives, and people going door to door, and the post office does food drive, it goes on all over the county.
Still very important.
It's very powerfully important. But produce, I can actually bring stuff here.
Yep, especially in the off season, right?
Yeah.
When I think of Seeds of Change and Sean and the rest, my challenge to him would be to extend this growing season so we have produce a little longer, or to find ways to get the growing season jump started so we get produce a little sooner. Because if you think about our summer this past year, we didn't see much locally till well into June, even early July, before we saw much local produce. And, you know, hoop houses, what can grow in the winter months, what can grow in April or March. Yeah.
So now you mentioned Thanksgiving boxes, and I'm going to, correct me if I'm wrong, do people traditionally eat more this time of year? I'm talking about your clientele, the people that are desperately in need of food because they need more calories to stay warmer and such?
I think one of the things that changes in the winter months is people are more in their homes, more sedentary, they stay in one place, so you cook at home more often. Whereas in the summer months, you're a little busier, a little more active, you might be out and about, so I think that's one thing. The other thing to realize is we do eat more in the winter months because it's cold, and we kind of want the heartier meals. A sandwich doesn't cut it anymore. It really is about all 4 food groups. It really is about soup. So we do see demand increase during the winter months. And then the holidays, where we always want to do a really nice thing for our families. So.
And that's where I'm going next, is with Thanksgiving, Christmas, New Year's, the next 3 months. What would be the most beneficial for our population that we're serving?
So we really do provide a Thanksgiving meal box, and it's just one meal. and we really want it to be nice. So it does include a turkey, it doesn't include stuffing and all the rest, but you know, think green beans as an opportunity. We really don't give out a lot of canned fruits, so canned fruit's really nice, but anything that you would think of as your traditional holiday meal components, whether that's candied yams or sweet potatoes, all of those are great. But one of the secrets I would share is if you buy X dollars of food at a store, they often throw in a turkey. That's a free turkey
yes,
to you.
I've seen that, yes.
I can't buy that turkey, but you can. We would love that turkey because it's free. So having enough turkey sometimes is tough. And we'll buy typically hens, which are the 16-pound turkeys.
Yes.
If you've got a family of 10 or 12, you really need the tom, you need the 20, 22. So we rarely have enough of the bigger turkey. So just think about the holiday meat and then rinse and repeat for Christmas, rinse and repeat for Easter, all the holidays. We try to do a meal box for folks.
Now, when you say a meal box, are you talking about you put the whole turkey in there with all the fixings and say, here, go home and take it and fix it?
That's exactly right.
So two things. Do you prepare turkeys here to serve? Or do you give those to, or you don't prepare food, you just collect it and distribute it?
Yeah, honestly, John, that's a really great question. So food banks, ours as well as most, don't prepare food. We give you the food to take home to prepare. Okay. So most of what we have requires cooking. Now we do make some key purchases of no-cook foods or foods that don't have to be cooked for a specific clientele, but the bulk, well over 90%, is food you take home and cook. It's raw meat, it's raw vegetables. You really do have to have a kitchen and a facility to make full use of what we have.
Okay. And do you have a kind of a guess or an estimate of how many folks that come in to get food live in their cars or trucks or don't have places to cook things?
So as far as our main food bank, it's about 1%, so that's about 150 households a month. That's individual, so not how many times they visit. We have a school backpack program that provides meal bags on the weekends at elementary schools. That's roughly 2,200 kids each week on Fridays. And that's in Olympia School District, Tumwater School District, North Thurston School District, and the Indian School, Wahilut, as well.
Oh, really? Okay.
Yeah, and those are all homeless children. They may be in transitional housing, but they're at risk of homelessness. But those are children, and that's a unique subset, a special program we run.
It's heartbreaking is what that is. Robert, I thank you so much for taking time again to visit with me today and visit with us. But I want to ask, is there any final thoughts or a pitch or anything you'd like to add before we close?
I would say the Thurston County Food Bank, as well as a lot of charities, we don't really rely or have a large number of big donors. It really is a blue-collar charity. It's a lot of people giving a little. Every single gift counts. Our average donation is $8. We raise about $1.5 million a year. That's a lot of $8 givers.
Oh, it is.
And it's the strength of your annual campaigns, your payroll deduction, writing a check every month, thinking about us during the holidays. So what I would encourage people to do is not think their gift isn't big enough. It is big enough. Whether it's a can of food or $5, it all makes a difference. And it's what it does together that really is the power and the secret that we have.
That's a lot of people for that amount of money. And I would like to add to the viewers at home, I believe at the end of this program, you're going to be seeing a list of organizations you can donate to with phone numbers and maybe some other information. So I encourage you to either have your phone handy so you can take a snapshot, have your remote control handy so you can pause it, so you can write these things down. Get pen and paper the old-fashioned way and write stuff down. But we will be running a list of different various organizations throughout the county that you can donate to, especially this time of year, that touches the lives of so many people that we don't even know who they are, but they're greatly appreciative of the gift and your giving. Robert, thank you, sir, very much. I look forward to doing this again in 14 years with you, okay?
All right, I'll remember.
Thank you, sir. Bye-bye.
Bye.
And I'm down here at the Salvation Army, downtown Olympia, 5th and Plum. And I'm with Envoy in Charge Richard Pease and his wife, Envoy in Charge Phyllis Pease. So Envoy Pease, tell me or explain to us what you do with the Salvation Army.
Well, in partnership with my wife, we run all of our church programs, our social service programs, basically anything that you can think of that the Salvation Army does in Thurston County. My wife and I are responsible for, along with, we have an associate officer who's actually in Northern California at the moment doing disaster casework from the fires in the Santa Rosa and Napa areas.
So you do a lot of regional outwork.
We do. We basically serve the residents of Thurston County that live in Olympia, Tumwater, and Lacey, and we provide assistance throughout the year with different family services. We have an emergency rental assistance program. We have a utility assistance program that we do along with PSE. We also make referrals to other agencies. We try to work with folks to help them basically with the things that they need to move their lives forward. Sometimes it can be as simple as a gas voucher or a daily bus ticket. Sometimes it's as complex as helping someone make sure they're not evicted from their home.
And so your church is just up the road here, a few blocks at State and 4th and Central?
Correct.
Okay.
And we have worship services there on Sundays. We have a Sunday school and a holiness meeting at 11. We also do youth programming there. There's some character building troop programs. My wife oversees a women's ministry. We have a men's fellowship. Yeah, we do prayer fellowship every week. And we're also looking at other areas that we can expand. We're also restarting our brass band, which the Salvation Army in historically has been famous for. So I have lots of instruments. So if there are any musicians out there that would like to play in a band, maybe do some Christmas carols or even traditional church hymns, or who knows, we might get a little crazy and do something non-church. But if they're interested, they can contact us. And we'd be happy to. Yes, we'd be happy to involve them in that.
Wow, and so that's another way someone could involve themselves in service to others, even in a band.
Yeah, you bet, even in a band, or even if just somebody's looking for some fellowship or something to do. Maybe we have some youth that are learning instruments. Perhaps there's someone who's skilled in piano or a brass instrument or even a woodwind, take any instruments, that would like to share that with one of our young people and inspire them to become, who knows, maybe the next great musician out of Thurston County.
So role modeling, mentoring, all those types of things.
Yes.
Now, one of the hot ticket button items in the county, of course, and of course all around the country, is the homeless population.
Correct.
And you said that you provide housing?
Yes, we have an emergency lodge here at our campus on 5th and Plum. And
it's emergency.
Emergency. Yep. So we have beds for 24 men and 16 women currently. We also, during cold weather, in partnership with the county, we add another 25 male and 4 female beds for overnight when it's cold weather. So it's like November 15th to April 30th. But basically we provide, at the moment, emergency lodging, so it's not intended to be a long-term facility. But again, with the idea that if we can help folks have a safe place to sleep and then work with them on maybe some of the things they need to kind of get their life back on track, we want to do that. And we're currently working with some other agencies, with Interfaith, with the Homeless Housing Hub, to try and redesign that program a little bit, make it a little bit more useful for the community and also for the folks that come to us for help. Hopefully we can expand our size. At one point I think we had 70 beds for men and women, and so we're trying to see if we can expand a few more, because the number of homeless in our community has grown over the past few years, and we want to try to address that need.
So you're networking with the county and with the cities, and with Interfaith works
and with other agencies
for the same common goal.
Yes.
And is it 30-day, 90-day?
Well, we start with 30 days, and it really is up to the person, the resident, as to what they need. I mean, I say that we're not going to have them staying in there for 2 years, but if they need 30 days or 60 days or 90 days to kind of work through some of their issues, we want to provide that supportive housing. We have a caseworker that is in our main social service office, kind of helps them think through what they need. For some folks, it's as simple as getting new copy of their birth certificate and another social security card. And it's nice to have so they can get back into the workforce. It's nice to provide them a space where they can do that safely, where they can receive mail. For other people, it's helping them find housing that they can afford with the income that they have, whether it's from work or from a government source. We work with Department of Health and Human Services and the Housing Authority to try to provide folks a safe place to stay while they help them find a permanent house. We also, on that same facility, have a partnership with Catholic Community Services. We do a community kitchen that serves about 12,000 meals a month. That's 7 days a week, 3 meals a day, and that's for anyone who wants to come in and eat. I eat lunch there almost every day because it's really great food, and it's a nice, quiet place to meet some people and chat and hang out. And hopefully my uniform will still fit after I've been here a while, but the food is so good and there's so many great volunteers that come in. It's another fantastic way that we partner with others in the community to make a difference.
All right, Envoy Phyllis Pease, thank you again as well. And you do women advocacy and what else?
I do women's and youth ministries up at our church building. Something that we are working to get some more community women involved is by providing transportation up to our women's programs once a week to the women that are staying in the shelter if they'd like to come.
Pretty vital. There's quite a few that don't have transportation.
Yes, yes.
Yeah. Now, one of the things I'll share with you is last year, first time ever in my life, I volunteered through Rotary as a bell ringer.
Oh, wonderful.
And it was the most heartwarming but the most fun and rewarding activity I think I've ever done around the holidays.
Fantastic.
So I'll do it again this year, of course.
Great.
However, can you tell me what other services, besides that one, and I don't know how much that the bell ringing throughout the community brings in or what it helps or how long that help is there.
Sure.
But what other activities can people, now that we're rapidly heading to the holidays, what can we out here in the community do for the Salvation Army, whether it be cash donations, clothing, perishable or items? What is needed and what can we do to help you?
Well, especially going into the holidays, which is by far our busiest time of the year, where you mentioned we have bell ringing. Just to give you some perspective, that raises about 10% of our annual budget is raised through those red kettles around town.
Wow.
And this year we've actually taken the step that we're doing our red kettles all volunteers. So we're not paying any bell ringers like we've done in years past.
Well, for the record, I did not get paid for that. It was,
I wouldn't expect Rotary to do anything but put volunteers out, but we're actually putting out all volunteers this year, so we definitely need volunteers for that. But the other things we do during the holidays, as I mentioned, we have toys, brand new toys for children age 12 and under, and also Christmas meals. So the food portion, if you want to donate that to the Thurston County Food Bank, we work with them to make our food boxes. But if you're interested in helping out with toys, my wife oversees our Angel Giving Tree, which we'll have out at the Capitol Mall.
Capitol Mall,
And
okay.
that starts...
That starts the day after Thanksgiving and goes through December 16th. We're working with Christina. The mall is putting up a 9-foot tree. They're even going to decorate it for us this year, and they're good partners with the Salvation Army to help get the word out and bring in toys for these children in need.
Thank you so much for your time. Thank you for all that you have been doing and are currently doing and will do for the Salvation Army in our local community. Thank you, folks, very much.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Thank you.
Thanks very much.
Hello, I'm out here at the YWCA and I'm with the CEO, Hillary Sowens. Hillary, thank you so much for having me here today.
Thank you so much.
To tell not only me, but the viewing public quite a bit more about the YWCA that we don't know. At the core, what is your mission statement and What's the wide range of ages that you serve?
Our broad mission is to eliminate racism and empower women. That's what unites YWCAs all across the country.
Okay.
Here, our specific mission is to eliminate racism and sexism to advance the social, political, and economic status of all women and girls. And that shows up in a variety of ways. Like I said, everything from empowerment programs to young women, to racial justice and intercultural competency training for workplaces and institutions in the community, to, again, basic services that we know all financially struggling individuals and families are challenged by, but particularly because of the wage gap and financial instability of so many women. We know that women are disproportionately impacted by some of these challenges. And so we serve folks of all ages, which primarily for us, for our youth programs, are middle school and high school, so about 10 up to 18. Our job training program supports folks who are 16 all the way up to 70. And then the other bank serves nearly 14,000 people per year. And those folks range from infants all the way to older adults. So that serves everybody in the whole community.
Good grief, and that's obviously year-round. And now that we're coming into the holiday season, I'm going to ask you about specific needs. But first I'm going to ask, how many staff do you have to do all this work?
Yeah, we have 11 core staff, and then we also have a handful of work study students. We have a handful of interns who are college students here. We have an AmeriCorps member, and then we have a couple of contract staff. So with all of those folks included, we have 14 staff. So
Just
most of them
over
are
a dozen.
part-time.
To
Right.
do all that work and serve all those needs.
Right.
What specific needs need to be met for the holiday season? Is it over and above what's typically needed throughout the year?
Yeah, there are certain, of course, unique needs during the holiday season. So let's talk about the Other Bank, for example. The Other Bank, as our community may or may not know, provides basic hygiene items to families who are in need. And those things range from toilet paper to shampoo to diapers to menstrual products, and also household cleaning supplies like laundry soap and dish soap. And so many families in our community don't have regular access to these items because they're not available at the food bank, and you can't purchase these with food stamps. So families have to get very creative with regards to meeting their basic hygiene needs, which we know not only protect family and individual health, but dignity as well, which we know is a huge factor for folks feeling and being able to be successful at school and at work, for example. So these items are very expensive, and again, a lot of families don't have ready access to them. So we hear families who use dish soap, which we talked about earlier, for everything, right? And for their kids' bath time, for their own shower time, for washing clothes and washing dishes. And so to be able to have regular access to diapers, menstrual products, and toilet paper, shampoo is just really critical for our community. So during the holiday, and also uniquely during summer break time, kids are home from school, and so families are going through these products more quickly. And so we do have more products being distributed during these times, and of course we know at Christmas families are also financially strapped, or the holiday season, because there are so many other competing expenses this time of year. So we have sort of both of those compounding factors working together to create higher need this time. And so we really rely on the community to make sure that we have the essential items that our other bank participants need. 99% of the products that are distributed are donated by the community. And so we rely on both individuals and community groups to do what we call product drives. So groups get together and they might do a drive around toilet paper, for example, or we have some service groups in the community who specifically do a drive for menstrual products, or toothbrushes and toothpaste, for example. So that's one way that a group can come together and have some sort of competitive fun with each other around some sort of a set goal of how much product maybe they can generate. And then those types of drives, again, are absolutely critical for us maintaining the supplies we need in order to meet the community need.
So typically, when you're saying different groups can have a fund drive or some type of a drive, people might be thinking of like a church group or some other nonprofits or something. But that could be in a workplace. It could be anybody's workplace, having a competition and bringing things together and collecting them and bringing them in as well.
Yeah, we rely on all groups in the community. So there are a lot of faith communities, we have schools, elementary through high schools that participate in this, and lots of workplaces. We work with over 100 groups throughout the community, and most of them are workplaces. And we've even done things in the past where we've had industry competitions, for example, between hair salons or real estate companies. So we can get really creative with a lot of businesses who are in similar industries sort of having a friendly competition.
That's a great idea. And I have no idea what Thurston County has done with drives like that in fostering competition or competitive drives. Now we're going to be doing a little bit of, we'll be looking at the other bank in a little bit, and I don't want to steal any of the thunder that we might be hearing there, but what I heard earlier this year in the presentation was that if somebody were to go to a big box store, if they're shopping, they could buy like the big, or even at the supermarket and anywhere locally, the big gallon size of shampoo or cleaning product or whatever, and then when it comes here, those are put in smaller bottles, so one big gallon is going to serve a ton of people.
Right. Yeah, that's a big part of the process because we do have folks who come in with those big bottles of, shampoo, for example, or dish soap, and of course the big cases of toilet paper or diapers. And so those are all repackaged into family size quantities. And then when families come in, they let us know how many folks are in their household, and then they get a certain quantity of items based on that family size. So we really want to make sure that we have enough to serve everybody, that families really get what they need in terms of the number of people who will be using those products. And then it's easier for shoppers, of course, to maybe buy one or two of those big size jugs and bring them in. Rather than 25 bottles of dish soap, for example.
And then you would have the other supplies.
Right. Yep. We have all those supplies here.
Unless someone wanted to buy a case of the empty bottles, small bottles.
Yeah, we always take the water bottles as well, although less frequent these days because we have lots of those. So our real goal is to get folks to donate products and family size products.
And not so much, but not so much like formula or things for infants and children, no food?
No, we don't do any food here. No food. And, we really try and just stick to the core, most essential items. We do have some extra things here and there that we're able to distribute, but our goal is really to meet folks' basic needs. So those are, of course, the things that we all use on a daily basis, right? Toilet paper, dish soap, shampoo. For families with children who are in diapers are a huge need. We always need the larger size diapers, 3, 4, 5, and 6. And wipes to go along with those, and then menstrual products, which we just go through really quickly, of course, which we know are absolutely essential for folks who are menstruating.
Toothpaste and toothbrushes?
We do need toothpaste and toothbrush, although we're pretty well stocked on those at the moment. So
get that market.
Yeah, but if our inventory always changes because we distribute what folks have donated, we always try and stick to those essential items in terms of what we're collecting. But our inventory, because it changes, we always list on our Facebook page or on our website what our current needs are. The items that I've listed are a pretty safe bet, so we always are in need of those. If it's something outside of that, if either workplaces or businesses or individuals wanted to know if a particular item was of need, they could just call our office or check our Facebook page or our website, and it'll let the community know what our needs are at any given moment.
Well said. Thank you, Hillary.
Great, thank you.
Today, we had a chance to talk to just a few of the many organizations out there who are working to make a positive impact in the lives of others. There are 2,000 nonprofit organizations in Thurston County. We only touched on 3 today. But none of this would be possible without your support. Here is a list of all the businesses and organizations accepting food and other donations this year. I would encourage you all viewing at home to look into some of these organizations that we spoke with today and take a moment to donate non-perishable food item. It can make a big difference to a family in need. Thanks for watching Thurston County Connection on Thurston Community Media, and happy holidays.